So yesterday I made this shirt. Well, I made the design and I'm going to make the shirt and I'm going to do it right here with you. And at the exact same time, I'm going to be comparing the two biggest print-on-demand providers. That would be Printify and Printful. Hi, I'm Dave and I make things. All right, gang, so what I'm going to be doing here today is I'm going to be taking the design that I made, that one right there. I'm going to be turning that design into shirts, and I'm going to order a shirt from both companies and see exactly, number one, what is the whole process? How would I compare them? How do they match up as far as time and energy? And also, when I finally get the shirts, I'm going to compare those as well. That's actually going to be another video at another time, but today what I'm going to be walking you through is that whole process of getting the shirt uploaded and seeing how quickly and how effectively and with ease of use I can get these things up and available and ordered and hopefully eventually fulfilled and shipped off to me. Now, a lot of what I'm going to be talking about today makes the assumption that you know at least a little bit about print on demand and how these two places operate. But for those of you who don't really know what Printify or Printful do, essentially they are the providers of the print on demand service. And so instead of you wanting to make t-shirts and going to your local screen printer and having a bunch of t-shirts made and having a bunch of stock on shelves that you have to eventually sell, this way you can make shirts or mugs or all kinds of different items. You make the design, you place the design on the item, and then when somebody orders the item, these companies will fulfill that order and then ship that off to the customer. So all you really have to do is get your designs made and then put up onto the website, and then everything after that, after the sale is made, is all done by these companies. Sorta. That's a big giant asterisk that we'll talk about later. Let's jump into the screen so I can show you exactly what's going on. Now, right out of the gate, when you go through these two websites, they essentially look the same. They look very similar from their front page. Not super exciting, but they provide plenty of information. I do believe that Printful has a lot more information to provide right out of the gate, and so it gives you more to ingest than over here on Printify. Printify is a little bit more sleek, a little bit more minimalist with their approach, and that's okay too, but there's not as much information on the homepage. You obviously can go down any one of these rabbit holes to try and find out what everything does, like how it works or what the different products are. And just as well as you can do all of that here on Printful too, but it just seems like Printful has taken a little bit more time with their user experience on their website. Now, the first most important thing that you need to understand about these two websites is they kind of have different business models. Printful is a self-contained company, meaning that when you place your stuff up onto their products and then orders get placed, they do everything. They are the fulfillment center, they are the printer, they do all of it, and they have units or places that they do this stuff all over the world. They have them in Europe, they have them here in America, a couple of places here in America. They also have them in Australia. Contrasting to that, Printify isn't actually the printing company themselves. They are just the intermediary. And their business model is that they have nodes all over the world with different print companies that will provide the services. And essentially when your orders go through, it goes through Printify's system and then it gets fed out to whichever company you have chosen to do that particular product. Because some companies will do shirts and mugs and stuff like that, and other companies will do socks, and other companies will do hats. So they have the flexibility of being able to do a bunch of different things with all these different companies. The biggest issue, and this is the big asterisk here, is I personally have never had an issue with customer service with my Printify pieces, but if there is a customer service issue, what is going to be the situation? Am I dealing directly with Printify, or am I having to deal with these other providers that didn't do the job that they were supposed to do? With Printful, the customer service is right there on the spot. They manage everything. If something happens, they're willing to take care of it, and they can control everything. The biggest issue with Printful is that you are stuck to just their facilities. When COVID got really bad last year, Printful was like on complete lockdown. You couldn't get anything made for less time than like 3 to 5 weeks. Weeks! I understand it was a tragic situation, but because Printful is so self-contained, they didn't have any other option to push stuff in other places. With Printify, you could easily shift your orders over to a shop that was actually doing okay versus the one that was actually getting hit really hard because of COVID. It's also important to note that Printify and Printful are not marketplaces, meaning when you do this, when you upload your stuff onto their products, they're not actually selling them for you. You have to integrate them into some other shop, like I do with my Shopify or with my Etsy. A major point of contrast here as well is that Printify has 7 different integrations available, including Shopify, Etsy, WooCommerce, eBay, PrestaShop, BigCommerce, Wix stores, and then they have their Printify API, which that's more for the incredibly tech-savvy people who just want to integrate it into a website and kind of do all the coding themselves. On the other hand, Printful has 18 different integrations, a considerable amount more, plus also their own API, but they also include eBay and Amazon and Wish. Now with Printful, you have a wide variety of products available, but because they are a self-contained unit, they don't really have the flexibility of being able to just bring in new types of products all the time, because that would require them to bring in a whole new category of machinery just to make that happen. But I digress. As you can see, they have quite a bit of products available, from men's clothing, women's clothing, kids and youth, hats, accessories, which include all kinds of things like bags, jewelry, face masks, which those are probably going to be going away, maybe not real soon, but they're probably not going to be as popular pretty soon. Home and living, you have all these other different things. And then of course they put different types of things in collections, so that you can say, oh, I want to be more streetwear or beachwear oriented. I want to be something that's fulfilled in Australia because I'm an Australian myself and that's what I want. On the other hand, Printify has so many different things in the catalog. It's like, I mean, it shows all these things, but you can't really see. There's so many different things available. They can't show them all. They can't list them all. I mean, they could, but you have to go dive deep into the catalog to really dig in. And the reason for that is because they can, at any time, say, hey, we need to integrate a new thing into our product listing. Let's contact that print shop over there that does that particular thing and bring them into the fold. Printful doesn't have that option. They have to do it all themselves. They would have to foot the bill to get that happening. Printify has a lot more flexibility there. But here's the thing. You may find some things that you like over on Printify and other things that you like on Printful. And if you're using one of the major shop providers that Printify and Printful both use, like Etsy or Shopify or Wix, then you can integrate a little bit from Printful and a little bit from Printify and bring them together. But that's enough of the basics. Let's get into the meat of this and start designing shirts on both of these platforms and see what we think of each one independently. Starting with Printful, let's go ahead and I'm going to add this to my Shopify shop. So I'm going to add a product there to that one. And you can have multiple different shops within your system, and this works both Printify and Printful. So if you have an Etsy and you have a Shopify and you have a Wix and you have an Amazon, you can do all of that. Or if you want to have multiple Etsys with all types of different shops, you can do that as well. So the first thing you need to do, you come over here and it's going to ask you what type of product you want to work on. And of course, I'm going to do t-shirts. I'm just going to jump right into there. And I'm going to pick the shirt that I know that I can get on both of these platforms. And that is the Bella Canvas 3001. It's a really nice, comfortable, like 50-50 polyester / cotton blend, I believe, and it's just comfortable, it's soft, and it's good quality, and for the most part I've been happy with everything I've printed on that. So I'm gonna go ahead and select that one. It's also important to note that I could probably just go and make one of these orders so that I make one t-shirt for myself. I could do that. I wouldn't have to go through all the hoops of trying to figure out which one I want to do and how it's going to integrate with my shop. I wouldn't have to do that. I'm doing that here because I am going to be adding these to my shop. When you first get into it, it's going to ask you which product you want. You want to do printing direct to garment, which is what we're doing, or you want to do embroidery, which is not what we're doing. You obviously have a bunch of different colors available, and you can select multiple colors if you wanted to offer it on different colorways. I'm not going to do that either. I'm just going to do black. I'm going to select all sizes because why not? If somebody who is extremely small wants to buy one, if somebody is a little bit on the larger side wants to buy one, then more power to them. So I'm going to select them all. And then I'm going to go choose my file, and I don't have it uploaded yet, so I'm going to have to upload a new file. Now, you're going to want to use a transparent PNG file on t-shirts because you don't want backgrounds or anything like that, because even if you had a black background and put it on a black shirt, that black background is going to print and people are going to see it. Now, if you wanted to have the black background and put it on a white shirt, like have it like almost like poster style type print on a shirt, more power to you. So it's uploading, it takes a couple of seconds, and I'm going to go ahead and place it. Now, I'm going to zoom in here because I want to make sure that I get this set just right. And I'm zooming out, zooming in. I made this design to fit specifically into the space that the shirt said. Like when I went into the area where it tells you what are the size available, what size is best required for this particular brand, this particular shirt. And honestly, I think it's probably a little bit big. It's hard to make that call when you're looking at a flat document within whatever Affinity program, Adobe, whatever you're making it in. So I'm going to bring it down in size just a tiny bit. And one thing to note is that you can also make these increments done here. So I'm going to go back and change it. It says 12 by 16. And I'm just going to come down here and go, let's see, I'm going to make sure they're connected, and I'm going to bring it down about 10%, well, whatever. I'm just going to do that. Now, the rule of thumb for most designs on shirts is a hand's distance away from the bottom of the neckline. So you have the neckline right here. You take your hand, your flat hand like that. This is where the design should start. So this is actually sitting up a tad bit high. So I'm going to zoom in again, and I'm just going to bring it down a little bit. Now, I know I shifted it a little off center, but I can always go and just hit this thing right here, and that will put it back on center. So let's zoom out again. I can't even tell if I'm even making a dent in this. That snapping kind of irritates me. Let's see. It's snapping to the border, and I'm not into that. I think that's good. So you can see I've got a good resolution. It'll tell me where my DPI is at for my shirt. I did mine at 300 DPI, but because of the way that the processing works with these printers, it's actually kind of boosts up a little bit. So we're looking really good. I've got my alignment. If I wanted to flip it, I could and do all that. If I wanted to duplicate it, I could. If I wanted to add some other elements, I could. Like I can add a second piece of the design. I can add text. I can add clip art. I can do all this stuff if I wanted to. I'm not going to do that. Proceed to media. Now this is where you come up with mock-ups. And one of the biggest things that I've found between Printful and Printify is that Printful has quite a bit more mock-ups. But I really don't rely on them. I don't rely on them at all. I have just the main mock-up. And if I want to, I have a Placeit account, a Placeit.net account, where I can make all the mock-ups I want. Because one thing you'll find is that if you're moving through Etsy and you're looking at people designing t-shirts, you're going to see some of these similar designs or these similar mock-ups made. And you'll know immediately who's using Printful and who's using Printify. I'm going to select the PNG as my mock-up format because it's just better. I'm not going to do the product video, and I'm going to hit Proceed to Details. Now I'm not going to change any of the details for this particular shirt right now. I would go in and I would change my title, and well, I will change my title. Let's see. Creativity is a muscle. I'm not going to change any of this. I will do that once I get it into Shopify, but for our purposes, it's not important. I'm going to attach the size guide in both imperial and metric because I have a lot of people who look and watch me off of out of Europe and other places. I'm not going to add any tags. I'm not going to publish this immediately on my shop because I do want to edit it, but I can publish the product. I'm not going to choose any collections, and I'm not going to do free shipping. Now, this is where we can choose to add prices, but at the same time, you can also see what your Printful price is, and this is notable, okay? Printful price on most of the shirts for this particular shirt is $12.95. And then $14.45 and $15.55 for the larger shirts. I don't like to increase my price based on size. I just think it's a little bit. Now I understand it uses more material, and maybe there's a reason for that, but I am less concerned about making that extra dollar of profit and more concerned about making people feel comfortable about whatever they buy. My shirts, I'm running them at $29. I'll have to double check that. Now I could go up there, I could go up here and change this all, but I'm just tabbing through it. And you can see this would be my margin, $16.05 for most of the shirts, $11.55 for the much larger shirt. The other side of that is that I don't have a whole lot of people buying 4XL shirts. In fact, to my knowledge, I've never sold a single one. I have it available, and I'm okay with making $11 on that one sale if somebody wants to buy it. And then I submit it to the store. So scroll down here and we see it's generating print files and mockups. And now it's in my shop. So here you go. There it is. This is as is. It looks like that. It has all that information in there, which I am going to adjust. I will add all my other extraneous information. But just so you can see, I'm going to preview it. There it is. There's my listing. You can zoom in on the picture. Now it's gray because it's a transparent PNG. Once I get into, adding the other mockups, this will be different. And so that's how simple it is to make a shirt in Printful. Now let's do the same thing over in Printify. I'm here in my dashboard. I'm going to go and add product. I'm going to find men's clothing, t-shirts. Let's see, where is it? Gildan Bella Canvas 3001. That is the one we want. Not going to give you feedback right now. Now, this is what I'm talking about here. So here I have this shirt, and it is one of the most popular shirts on their network. And you can see all of these different print shops that provide service for them. I can come in here and make a choice about who I want to use. I can also sort by ranking, production time, lowest price, highest price. If I'm really concerned about pricing, then I would pick obviously a lower price or higher price one. If I'm more concerned about time turnaround, you can see right here, average production time is 1.2 or 1.28 business days, but you can also see their pricing is different. So this opt on demand, this one's actually from the Czech Republic, from the USD, United States, or it's $12. I don't want that. But drive fulfillment here is $8.49 versus this $9.21 with Monster. But their business turnaround is 2.74 days. So I really want efficiency. I'm more concerned about that. And again, less about that extra dollar for margin. Now, you will also notice that when I was looking at Printful, that pricing, what was that pricing again? Printful's standing price is $12.95. Now, I know that Printify's pricing is probably going to be going up here effective May 10th, I believe. They sent an email about that. So these prices are probably going to change a little bit, but I can't imagine they're going to go up, as much as $4 on some of these places. Now, maybe some of these will. Maybe Monster will go up to $11. But I'm going to go ahead and pick Monster because I've used them before and I've been happy with their production. So I'm going to hit Start Designing. I'm going to add my design. I don't have it uploaded again, so I'm going to go up here and hit that, click that, bring that in. As you can see, it's printing on a white shirt right now, but I just go in here and I change it to that, and I'm going to take that one off. And I can go and click all these if I want. Right, but I don't want that. So I'm going to take all those off again. And now I have it on a black shirt. Now, they have a preview mode here. And you can, it's a little bit dark, but you can see where the neckline is. Let's go back in here. I'm going to bring that down just a tad. Center my design. Preview again. It's interesting. It almost feels like it's a little bit smaller here than it was on the Printful shirt. Like the space is a little bit different. And I think that's probably true. I mean, just by looking at the white dotted line, it looks like the ratio is a little different than Printful. That's one thing. When you design to size like this, that's where it's going to be a little bit of an issue. So just for, my own security and, sanity, I'm going to bring it down in size just to make sure it doesn't crop outside that area. Now, it's possible that Printify says, hey, this is our space, but they probably have a little bit of a give. I'm not going to make that judgment call. I'm not going to say, well, let's test it, because next thing I know, it's like I'm printing something and it crops out, and then I'm going to be mad at myself. Now, again, I can add a new layer if I wanted to. I can add different stuff. I can add other designs if I wanted to. I'm not going to do that, but I can drop stuff in. I can also get stuff from Shutterstock if I had a Shutterstock account. Now, you can do all of that just like you could with Printful. And so this is where it's a little bit of a weird situation, because with Printful, I would just go right in and start editing the thing and then get to publish it towards the end. But now it's like I have to go back into this thing. It's like, hey, there it's available. It's ready to go. But now I have to edit my listing. Now, if I wanted to publish immediately, I could. But obviously, I needed to come in here and do some stuff. Let's see. Let's change the name. Now, I can also, again, change my pricing. I'm going to select all. I'm going to do my pricing the same across the board. Let's see. I'm just going to go 29. And you can see that my profit margin is significantly higher on this particular product in Printify than it is on Printful. I'm going to publish my product in my Etsy store, but I'm going to hide it because I don't want it to go immediately into all this other stuff. It'll give you an opportunity to create a new shipping platform or a shipping profile in Etsy, but I already have one available, so I'm not going to do that. And then I'm going to select the one. I'm going to do standard shipping, and then I'm going to hit publish. Now it's publishing, and it seems to be moving okay, but what happens sometimes is if there's a lot of people publishing to the platform at one time, the servers have a tendency to say, hey, you're going to be in queue. We're not pushing everybody through at the same time. So it will tell you up here, you're in queue. You are number 10 or number 586. That's actually happened. Now it's not shown in store, but I can go over to my Etsy. Oh, maybe it doesn't process. Hold on, let's go back into that. I think I messed that up. Okay, so this is exactly what I'm talking about. Printify users are very active right now. We received your submission and placed you in queue. Your position in queue is 5. Now it's 2, so it's moving pretty quickly. Sometimes it moves a little bit slower than others. And it's publishing. Oh, I know what it is. I'm doing that. Okay, so that's what it was. These are my published listings. What I'm doing is, this is my draft listing. That's what it was. That's my bad. So you can see it's all there. Let's see, I adjust my thumbnail. Oh, and one thing I didn't show you is the mockups and Printify mockups. They're okay. They're not great. That's one of the reasons why I love using a service like Placeit.net. Yeah, it costs money. Some people say it costs too much. I don't think it. I think it's a good, reasonable amount, especially if you're trying to make a bunch of different shirts. It's the cost of doing business. I highly recommend it. I'll put a link down below if you want to know more about it. Oh, here's another thing that's bothered me about these two companies, and this is completely random, but as you can see with here on my Etsy listing for this Printify, it went ahead and brought in a mock-up image that was the size that Etsy requires. For some reason, Printful has decided that they make a better judgment call on the size of the print on the mockups. Their mockups don't come into size on Etsy's recommendation. And if you don't do the things as Etsy recommends, like how big the image sizes should be, well, they're going to maybe like ding you a little bit because you're not following through on creating the quality experience for their customers. Be real here. These are Etsy customers. They're not your customers. You're selling to them, sure, but ultimately Etsy is managing those customers, and they want that person's experience to be universal across the board. And so if you're not doing what Etsy's asking, they may not show you to other people. And so if Printful is not helping me with that by giving me images that fit the parameters that Etsy's asking for, well, then they're making me do extra work. And if I preview it, I mean, it's looking pretty meh as far as listings go because I haven't done anything, but there you go. So that's it for the interface and experience situation between these two websites. Of course, I'm going to order a shirt from both of them, and then when I get them, I will compare them and we'll talk about that. Because print quality is important, and also how long it takes, the fulfillment, all that stuff. That is something we're going to notate in a future video, maybe next week. Fingers crossed I get it done that fast and the shirts come to me that quickly. So far these services are pretty much equal in a lot of different ways. Obviously Printful is a little bit bigger of a company. They have a little bit more power. They obviously have self-contained and they can do all of the work themselves. If you really appreciate more of the customer service aspects and then also having a little bit more reach as far as like how many different services you can apply your designs to, then Printful is your thing. If you are more about having more flexibility as far as like what different types of products and where you get your products done and how far you can go and also when it costs a little bit less, then Printify is probably your bag too. The other thing about Printify is that you can sign up for a Printify Pro account, and that costs money to do, but it brings your prices down considerably. So if you're selling a lot of product, it might actually be beneficial for you to subscribe to Printify Pro so that you can get that extra discount on all of the products. Might be worth your while. For me, again, it's a little bit of a toss-up when it comes to shirts. Ultimately, it's going to come down for me what the printing quality looks for both. I anticipate they're going to be very similar, but we'll see. And on top of that, the fulfillment. Like how quickly will each of these companies get that shirt out the door and into my hands? Those are my two biggest issues, and I'm looking forward to sharing that information with you very soon. But until then, if you guys have any questions about anything I've done, go down below and leave those questions down there, or tell me what you thought of this video. While you're heading down there, hit the like button and then share this with all of your people that might be interested in this thing. Now, if you want to see me make that shirt design start to finish, you're going to want to check out my other channel because on Friday I'm going to be releasing the video of me doing that. It's not available yet, but it will be Friday, so make sure you go check out my channel so that you don't miss it. And on that note, I'm going to get out. Guys, I've been Dave. You've been awesome. Go make more stuff. Hey, YouTube thinks you'll like those videos next.